So by now you'll know you're looking at a Mazda, and this is the Mazda CX-3. Now I don't think you see many of the CX-3s on the road, but more of the CX-30s because it gives you that SUV kind of feel. But the Mazda CX-3 sits between a crossover between a SUV and a hatch, so it does fall under the B SUV or vehicle segment. If this is your first time watching, my name is Muhammad Fakier and welcome to my channel. So yes, I know I sound a little bit nasally, but I did have a little bit of the flu over the weekend. Luckily I am back and yeah, shooting this video. This car is you get the dynamic, the active, as well as the individual, which is the top of the range, but you also get this exclusive top of the range to the CX-3 lineup, which is the Hikaru, and it's all the bells and whistles. We're talking heads-up display. You've got your blind spot monitors on the side. You've got your electronic windows, and yeah, I think all of your lane assist and your extra perks and bells and whistles is definitely with this car. This Hikaru model, all of the vehicles have the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and of course the Sky Active G engine technology, but which Mazda of course provides. But this specific one is the most expensive at around 501,000 rand. You do get the vehicle starting off at around 366,000 rand when you do get the active model, but of course you get way less trims. For example, not this luxurious leather seats, the 8-inch infotainment display, which reminds me very much of Mercedes, I must mention, especially these round vents for your aircon. I must mention that it definitely reminded me of your Mercedes A-class vehicles and B-class vehicles, especially not the modern, not the 2 later models, but even the older ones, the early 2000s, definitely it resembles Mercedes kind of design. So speaking about under the hood, and I mentioned the engine, let's talk about power. There's 115 kilowatts of power and approximately 206 Newton meters of torque. Now I must mention to you that this car, at first I thought it had a turbo because the car really feels like it wants to just let you put your foot down and speed ahead. It feels very grippy on the road and solid, which I absolutely love. And I must mention, of course, like I mentioned previously on my Mazda CX-30 drive, the drive is very smooth and very smooth, very sealed. Yeah, the cabin is not much noise, even though there's a sunroof on this car. Yeah, I really love it. Also on the front you've got your daytime running LED lights, which is extremely sexy. And I think overall this car, I don't know if it's tiger-like or shark-like, whatever you want to call it, it definitely has that beast kind of small beast animalistic look. So the reason the car just started now is because it has the iStop, so automatic, your automatic ignition. The car also has your push to start ignition, so that's definitely a plus on this, especially at this price point. Of course you have to get it because you are paying 501,000 rand, which is not really very cheap. And then you've also got your heads-up display on the interior, which is also a very nice trim or kind of perk of accessory at this price point. So the heads-up display is not the kind of more expensive or premium one where it's directly on the windshield, but it is more on top of your, it's a pop-up where a piece of plastic just comes, it folds up or down depending on whether you are driving or whether the car is driving or not. So functions on the steering wheel, you've got your volume rockers of course, and then you've got your skip and reverse your track. Then you've got your cruise control, and you can of course set that as you'd like as well. And then your hands-free kit, which is of course very familiar. What I also like is that you do get your gear lifters as well if you do want to switch to that specific driving mode. And then yeah, I really do appreciate the fact that I can look at my speed on that heads-up display and not have a look at the speedometer. But there's of course a trip of computer included as well, so you can see that I've got approximately 9.5 liters of fuel consumption per 100 kilometers, which is pretty decent, I guess. It would be nice to have over 10 or so, especially in South Africa's climate today, with looking at the fuel economy. But yeah, definitely I would say that this is a worthwhile purchase if you are looking at a powerful SUV cross kind of vehicle. Also on the interior you've got this suede finish, as well as the red, which matches the exterior, but you also have, like I mentioned, leather seats and then a leather gear lever, which is an automatic gearbox. I must say the revs are a little bit high for my liking. I do notice this on the newer automatic vehicles, I must mention, but I think that is to preference. You just have to get used to your way of driving for that specific gearbox, and I think eventually you do get used to it. Also mentioning the interior, we also have this commander dial, which is to navigate your infotainment system, which I mentioned is an 8-inch display. The car does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, if that is your choice, or whichever you want, it is available, so that's very nice as well. And then you do have this big storage compartment placed right in the center, which can be adjusted to a cup holder as well, so that is quite cool. And then there's a cup holder as well as armrests in the rear, as well as ISOFIX on all of the seats, which is of course always a nice welcome as well. So one thing that is nice is that there is of course parking sensors as well as a rear camera. So I hate driving expensive cars. Like, I'm saying expensive because I'm saying that are cars that are not too affordable, accessible to everybody. And I think 500,000 rand for example the Hikaru model is not exactly cheap. People don't want to give you away anyway, and even though you did have right of way, okay, we move. And then I think, yeah, like I would say you want to pay 400,000 rand for a car and there's no reverse camera or no park distance control, park distance sensors, and that does come with this vehicle, which is of course definitely a nice to have, or I feel like it is a should or must have at this price point. So yeah, that's definitely a plus. I must say the camera, especially the parking assist, is extremely accurate. I really enjoyed that, the fact that the parking is very accurate. Okay, of course, ending it off, I must mention that there is around 350 liters of boot capacity, which I show in a video over here. Let's go. So yeah, this car definitely packs in more space than expected. I think with the seats down, it's not very spacious. That's just me, my preference, especially if I'm going to look for an SUV car. But I mean, this is a cross car, it has that edgy look, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Otherwise, this car, seats down, has great boot capacity. The capacity just doubles, and I think it's much more welcome than the with the seats up, of course. And then I think we also have to mention the sunroof, which is of course my absolute favorite and thing I love the most. The sunroof is beautiful because it has the capability of opening up just a little bit, like for the wind feature, and then just getting the fresh air, but of course also completely opening up the sunroof, which is also very nice. And I always say that it really gives your car a more premium feel. The car is an absolute bliss to drive, extremely good handling, very smooth driving no matter the speed. And yeah, I definitely, like I say, I like Mazda now, so I've been liking Mazda for a while now, especially since driving it, and it's a car that I would definitely recommend for this price point, I would definitely look at another kind of vehicle, especially if you're looking for an SUV. 500,000 is definitely a lot of money, and yeah, there is not much ground clearance as well. If you are looking for a bigger kind of car, this does have only your 18-inch alloy wheels, which does give it a little bit of a lift, but not really. Yeah. Anyway, if this is your first time watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.